affirm our worth. It's an expression of love. Well, let's review. We said that fundamentally there are 5 ways to express love emotionally in a marriage relationship or to children or any other relationship, and that every one of us has a primary love language. And if you want to be successful in filling the love tank of the other person, you have to learn to speak their love language. Now, we've dug a little deeper with words of affirmation. Now we're going to dig deeper with quality time. Quality time, giving the person your undivided attention. You know, there are some men who believe that they can watch television, read a magazine article, and hear everything their wife says. And actually, they can. But that is not quality time. Quality time, the TV is off, the magazine is down, you're looking at them and giving them your undivided attention. I remember a couple who came to me some years ago, and they walked in together, and the wife said to me, "Dr. Chapman, we want you to know up front that we don't have any money problems. We've read that money's a big problem in marriages, but we don't have any money problems. We've both worked through the years, and our house is paid for, and we don't have any money problems. And we want you also to know that we don't argue with each other. We don't believe in arguing. We've seen our friends argue. We don't believe in that." And I'm beginning to think, is this woman coming in here to give me a progress report on our marriage? Sounds pretty good to me. And then she said, "The problem is, Dr. Chapman, I just don't feel any love coming from him." She said, "It's like we're roommates living in the same house, and it's just dead." Well, I looked at him and he said, "I don't understand her. I do everything I know to do to make her feel loved, and yet she sits there and tells you what she's been telling me. She doesn't feel loved." He said, "I don't know what else to do." I said, "Well, what have you been doing?" He said, "Well," he said, "I come home before she does, and I start the evening meal. I have it ready most days when she gets home." And he said, "After it's over," he said, "if I don't have a meeting, I wash the dishes." And he said, "Every Saturday I wash the car and I mow the lawn." And he said, "I help her with the laundry," and I'm beginning to wonder, what does this woman do? He said, "I do all these things to show her that I love her, and yet she sits there and tells you she doesn't feel loved." And he said, "I don't know what else to do for her." Well, I came back to her, and she said, "Dr. Chapman, he's right. He does all those things. He's a hard-working man." She said, "But Dr. Chapman, we don't ever talk. We haven't talked in 30 years. You understand what's going on? The woman is dying for quality time, and he's giving her acts of service. I believe there are thousands of couples just like that. Now, many people have trouble with this language, quality time. They can talk on the run, but they have difficulty with quality conversation. And that's the dialect this woman is asking for, quality conversation. So let me suggest to you that if this is your spouse's language, you set a time to talk, a daily sharing time in which you share with each other a minimum of 3 things that happen in your life today and how you feel about them. Don't forget the feelings. It's just a minimum, a daily sharing time with your spouse. And remember, when you're talking with your spouse in quality conversation, you maintain eye contact. You don't look at the floor or the ceiling. You look at them. And don't be doing anything else. Put everything else aside. Also observe their body language. If their fists are clenched or if there's tears coming to their eyes, it means they're really serious or they're really hurting. And don't interrupt them. You know, one research project indicated that the average person will listen 17 seconds before they interrupt and give their idea. And when you interrupt, you say to them, what you're saying is not important. Or you're saying, I got it, let me tell you how to fix it. Don't interrupt, listen to them. And then recognize that there are personality differences when it comes to talking. I like to think that there are 2 types when it comes to talking. One is the Dead Sea. You know, the Jordan River flows into the Dead Sea and it goes nowhere. Well, there are those of us who can have all kind of thoughts and feelings and experiences flowing into our lives throughout the day. We have a large reservoir where we store all of that, and we're perfectly happy not to talk. In fact, if you say to a Dead Sea, what's wrong? Why aren't you talking tonight? A Dead Sea will say, nothing's wrong. What makes you think something's wrong? And they're being perfectly honest. It's just that they are content not to talk. On the other side is what I call the babbling brook. And that's the personality type that whatever comes in the eye gate or the ear gate comes out the mouth gate. And normally there's not 60 seconds between the two. Whatever they see, whatever they hear, they tell. In fact, if no one is at home, they will call someone on the telephone. You know what I just saw? And if they can't get someone on the telephone, they talk to themselves. And usually the Dead Sea will marry the babbling brook. So what I'm saying is this: if you're married to a Dead Sea, they will never become a babbling brook. And if you're married to a babbling brook, they will never become a Dead Sea, but we can move toward the center. The Dead Sea can learn to talk more, the babbling brook can learn to slow the flow and ask more questions. Any couple can have good communication, good quality communication. But there's another dialect of quality time, and that is quality activities. Planting flowers together, going to a ball game together, or walking through the old neighborhood where one of you grew up and asking questions. What are some of your memories from your childhood that were pleasant? Do you have any painful memories from your childhood? You know, that kind of experience, walking through the neighborhood, can bring out things you've never heard before about them. It touches emotions, and you're likely to have an activity, but you're also likely to have conversation. Or you can ride bikes together, assuming you both like to ride bikes. Or go on a picnic. Or in the winter, you can go ice skating. The important thing is not what you're doing. The important thing is you are doing it together. Now, if your spouse complains, we don't ever spend any time together. They're telling you that quality time is their language, and if you will say to them, honey, what would you like to do? And you respond, you're filling up their love tank. You're speaking the language of quality time. Now, let's look and